Greetings, salutations to Safe to Serve International and first-time viewers. Welcome to this midday power surge, your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriquez. Now today, I have a special lesson to share with you. I'm going to be addressing, number one, the riots during the Grammys, the protests that blocked major highways right there in California, LA. And also I'm going to be addressing, it's time to prepare now for a nuke attack. I do have a special guest, Denise Brown, who'll be calling in shortly to speak on that. And also, all these things will be couched in light of Bible prophecies and the work of preparation implementing the 5 keys of survival. Let's begin with what's trending right now. Agencies participating in large-scale nuclear incident training around the region. This is January 25th, 2025. They're always talking about these training exercises for a coming nuke attack. Take a look at this, my friends.
The FBI announcing a training exercise will take place across the capital region starting today and will continue until the end of the week. The FBI explaining the training will involve multiple agencies and will test the responses for a nuclear incident. Starting tomorrow, you may see military personnel, protective equipment, vehicles, and aircraft units, but there is no threat to the public. The exercise will primarily take place at and around the Stratton Air National Guard Base, Albany International Airport, and portions of northern Saratoga County.
It's evident that something is on the horizon, which is ominous. And notice what state they're having this present nuclear training exercise. The state of New York. Headline says, this law enforcement agency begins nuclear incident drill in New York. This is January 27, 2025. The exercise is meant to simulate a radiological attack, enabling response personnel to practice protecting public health and safety, providing emergency relief to affected populations, and restoring essential services. And the exercise is in a time period of January 31st. Do you know what was striking? As I saw this, I recall that several months ago, New York City ran this article. Headline, New York City officials share eerie explainer on how to prepare for a nuclear attack. New Yorkers are urged to follow 3 key steps if the Big Apple is nuked. And you can read what those 3 steps are. Get inside, and stay tuned. And of course, they'll tell you the risk is low. If the risk is low, why are we having so many drills back to back in such a short time period? And if you take, follow me carefully, if you take this time period where they're having multiple drills, just in case there is a nuke attack, take this time period and apply it to previous time periods, you don't see those drills. And if you do, they aren't so frequent. Come back here. So we know something is on the horizon. And inspiration told us, expect great calamities in the last days. Now, I've played this video several times. I won't waste your time on this. Let's move on from that. All right? And notice what also came on the media. The U.S. purchases almost $300 million worth of drug to use in radiological and nuclear emergencies. Why are they spending almost $500 million, $1/3 of $1 billion to stockpile these emergency drugs? Why? Why are they doing this? And yet they'll tell you, never mind, go back to sleep. I want to share with you here. There's something called Agenda 2030. And just as God has a time limit, a time frame to close up the work of salvation, bring an end to sin, misery, pain, sorrow, and death. And of course, Satan. The devil also has a counterfeit, and Satan has a timeline. And the timeline is in the time period surrounding 2030. So between now and 2030, expect great crises in the land, because they have an objective to implement the mark of the beast based on end time prophecies. Now, I am going to connect two dots. What I just said of the coming nuke attack, here is the UN General Secretary making a statement, expect what he calls global shocks. Global shocks. And as a result of these coming global shocks, we must implement the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, fulfilling Agenda 2030. Let me give you one of the several goals here. Look at number one. Number one says, implement digital IDs linked with your bank accounts, mobile money accounts. In another article, they said that this is going to be embedded under your skin. That's what they said. Now, some people may run with that. That is not the mark of the beast. It's the mark of the beast system. All right? Take a look at this. Question first. How do they know that there is going to be global shocks? How do you know that? Do you have a crystal ball? No, you don't. But the devil is inspiring these tyrants. Take a look at this. By the way, Antonio Gutierrez is Jesuit educated and Jesuit trained. Here he is. These are the global shocks. Look at them. There are 7 of them. Why 7? Major climate events, future pandemic risks. I'll come back to number 3. Event evolving biological agents, the disruption to global flows of goods or people, cyberspace, cyber attack, major event in outer space, and of course, rounding off number 7 is Black Swan event. How do you know Black Swan events when Black Swan events are unforeseen? How do you know that? Here he is. Listen.
Our world badly needs reform of the Security Council, reform of the international financial system, the meaningful engagement of youth in decision-making, a global digital compact to maximize the benefits of new technologies and minimize the risks, an emergency platform to improve the international response to complex global shocks.
Complex global shocks. Inspiration says, in the book Great Controversy, page 589, the same individuals directed by Satan who publicly state they want to cure for mankind, don't believe them. They are the ones that will bring disease and disaster until populous cities, don't forget that, populous cities are reduced to ruin and desolation. And the end goal is going to be a false system of worship. I'll come back to that. Calamities, diseases, and then a false system of worship. I will give you a Bible to confirm that. Notice, next paragraph. What are these populous cities in America? Look at the top 2. And the top 2 I'm going to be addressing today. New York and LA, Los Angeles. And these drills are happening where? In New York. I'll come to LA shortly with the protests blocking the highways during the Grammys in the context of the Trump's executive order to deport migrants. Watch carefully here, friends. Illegal migrants. Inspiration says they will bring disease and disasters until populous cities are reduced to ruin and desolation. Everybody, take a look at the second to last sentence. Satan and his tyrants impart to the air a deadly taint, and thousands perish by the pestilence. And then we're told that these things are going to become more frequent and more disastrous. So as we see, the drills and exercises are becoming more frequent. It means the calamities are near. Watch carefully. We have been seeing the rumors on the media. Expect nuke attacks. Expect nuke attacks. We're doing drills. We're doing exercises. We have tabletop exercises. One day, the rumor will become a reality. We don't know the exact date, month, day, year, hour of that day. So what is God saying to us? Get ready now. A thief, a prowler, doesn't tell you what time, what day he's coming to your home. So what do we do as men, fathers and husbands? We protect. We're always on alert. Move on from that. What's the end goal? A false system of worship, the mark of the beast crisis, just as inspiration says, just as the Jesuit Pope says, same exact thing. Here is a biblical principle. Do you know, in the Bible, in the book of Job, chapter 1 and Job, chapter 2, Satan desired Job to curse God, Job not to worship God. And if Job should not worship God, then who should Job give his allegiance to? Satan. And by, what did Satan do with God's permission to test Job? And God said, Job will not curse. Job will worship me, regardless of crises. What did Satan do? Did Satan not bring disasters? Yes. Question, did Satan bring disease upon Job's body? Yes. And what was the end result? What was Satan's objective? To get Job to worship him, to curse God and not to worship God. So what is the end goal by Satan? Working through his tyrants to bring nuke attacks. Come on now. Other pestilences, more disastrous than the pestilence 19 that we saw between March 2020, March 11, 3/11, and 5/11, 2023. Something worse than that. Complex global shocks are coming. That's the end result. A false system of worship. So God's people, first-time viewers, take heed. That's why we cover these things. And as I said before, the devil is like a suicide bomber. His objective is to destroy as many people with himself. He knows God has a deadline. As a result, he's working overtime to destroy as many people. As many people will be caught unprepared, unready, off guard. So why do we do midday power surge, Sabbath schools on Sabbath, the sermons, the Bible classes on Sabbath? Why? To get us in a state of always being prepared. Watch carefully, friends. If you were the devil, and you're not, by God's grace, you're being converted. If you were the devil, would you not inflict as much disasters on the popular cities? Of course. As we would say colloquially, you get a greater bang for your buck. All right? Watch this here. Do you remember the predictive programming movie called Leave the World Behind? Watch carefully. Did they not give us a 3-step process to overthrow America, to bring a collapse, to bring in their so-called reset? This is one perspective of their great reset, which will lead to the mark of the beast crisis. Do you saw or did you see in that actual movie where communications were disabled? Are we not seeing it right now? What stage are we in? What step are we in of their 3 steps? Stage 1? Stage 2? What stage are we on? What step are we on? Take a look at this, my friends. What about in the movie when this young man began to lose his teeth? Teeth were falling out. Now, the movie did not specifically tell us what led to this, But as you see the comments and those who have inside information, they were actually saying that something was in the air. And because his body was susceptible, he was inflicted and afflicted by whatever pestilence was in the air. His teeth began to fall out. Blood was dripping, running, gushing from his mouth. What is coming for these wicked cities? By the way, do you think it's accidental? In that same movie, Predictive Programming, Leave the World Behind, that there was a mushroom cloud in the city of New York? Look right between the two ladies. You'll see it. By the way, I'll give you something up close and personal. There it is right there. The mushroom cloud. And the implication was a disaster in the city. And all of a sudden, we're seeing, in a short time period, multiple drills, multiple exercises, get ready for a nuke attack. All right. It's time to store up. In the actual movie, they had a particular family storing up, while the other families were lackadaisical, had no concern. They were unaware and they did not store up. And as a result, they were caught off guard. On this past Sabbath, there was a sister, Denise Brown, who came to me afterward and showed me her Nuke Alert keychain device. It's right there on the screen. I asked her to send me the link, of that Nuke Alert.
Let's turn that.
Of that Nuke Alert. And of course, she sent it to me so I could show it to you right here on Midday Power Surge. As you can see, Nuke Alert keychain device, nuclear radiation detector and monitor keychain. You can walk around with this, something practical to do. And I actually asked her to join us today. She's very busy, extremely busy, and she took time out of her busy schedule to share with us, just for a few minutes, a synopsis of why she purchased her Nuke Alert, and what we can do practically to get ready. What are some signs to look out for? And she's here online. I want to welcome Sister Denise Brown to Midday Power Surge. Welcome, my sister.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you for having me. I have been listening to the reports, as you have, of the nuclear detonation tabletop event and the news. And I started doing some research, and I came up with this nuke alert, and I got the tip from a civil defense website, and it is available for everybody to look at. The name of it is TACDA, TACDA.org. And they give you several steps on what to do if there is a nuclear blast. But I want to say right away that the safest thing for everybody is distance from the blast. And so that brings in country living because all blasts are going to occur over the cities with large populations because they want to incur the most damage they can. And at this point in time, the Russians have at least one megaton bomb, a 1 megaton bomb. They have lots of bombs, but that's enough to do a lot of damage. And so this nuke alert alerts you to radiation, which is actually fallout from the attack. Whenever you see the flash, that is actually when something has been detonated. A nuclear detonation device has occurred, and most of the time, if you're within a 10-mile radius of that detonation, you're just going to be caught up in the fireball. And so, but outside of that, for everybody else, what we need to do is take steps when we hear that nuke alert go off, take steps to protect ourselves. And I think one of the first things they tell you to do is drop to the ground and cover yourself when you see a flash, and stay covered for a full 2 minutes. And then you've got to seek some shelter right away. One thing, too, is I want to say about this alert. Not only will you get alerted on your device, but the government is going to use your cell phones as the number one means for them to that's the way they plan to tell you that that there is something incoming, and that get ready. And they've done this before. They've done it accidentally in Hawaii just a few years ago. They put out an emergency alert and told everybody there was going to be a nuclear strike and to take shelter. And most people ignored it. But if that happens, don't.
Denise?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I lost you there. Go ahead.
No, okay. The government tells you that you'll have 30 minutes or less, and it's going to be less, because whenever they get an alert, they have to verify it, make sure it's real, and so you don't have a lot of time. You need to go to some of the websites. Actually, the CDC has some good information. I noticed that you said something about the government stockpiling medication. And what you can get ahead of time is some potassium iodide. It's for your thyroid. Your thyroid absorbs iodide. And during a nuclear detonation, that is one of the things that is in the fallout. And you cannot treat it afterward. You have to have your thyroid needs to be full of the good iodide, so that you don't absorb the radioactive iodide. So you've got to flood your body with the regular stuff. I assume that's what they're buying. They could be buying other drugs, of course, that I don't know about, but that's probably the number one. You want to protect your thyroid. So anyway, I got the nuke alert. Hopefully we can find out more ways that we can be prepared with this. We just want to be sure that we have determined a place in our home or elsewhere that we can go. Have it in your mind. If you're at work, there are certain places in your workplace that you can be safer than others. If you're in an apartment, you want to be in most places, you want to be in the centermost area that you can be in. And you're the more ways that you can protect yourself is just the more articles of clothing you have on will protect your body. Just whatever you can find to cover yourself with, even if it's just paper, that will help. And then you'll have to deal with the fallout. And like I said, there's numerous websites that you can go and find out what to do and figure that out.
Thank you so much for sharing with us that pertinent information, sister. And again, as we are hearing of these things, let's not look at it as something that will never transpire. Because we saw, if we had told people the whole world would experience the pestilence 19 and the whole world would be shut down, many would have said that we are conspiracy theorists. But it happened. It happened. So now they're telling us what is coming indirectly. Let us be found prepared. Thank you, my sister.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
All right. Beloved, I want to say this. It is imperative that we don't sleep on this information. And there were several articles I shared about 3 months ago. I put on the screen where they can actually detonate various nukes. And I showed you the radius. So if you're in this city, if you're in that city, you would be affected. So the further away we are from the urban, densely populated area, the better it's going to be for us all around, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, and socially. God's words are true, and they are applicable, relatable, and they are relevant for the times in which we're living. Let's get back here. Let's switch gears and talk about what's happening there in LA. Remember, inspiration says the cities are going to be impacted. And before I do that, I believe that right now it is necessary for all of us to remind ourselves of the spiritual protection that we find in Psalm 91. I want to read a few lines and verses from Psalm 91. Blessed is he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High, and abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he's my refuge, my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver me from the snare of the fowler, from the noisome pestilence. A nuke fallout brings pestilence. It goes on. In verse 5, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for that destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it, what's the it? The disease, the disaster, but it shall not come nigh thee. A powerful promise. And you may read the rest of this, my friend. But remember, we have to make sure that we are abiding under the shadow of Christ. And what is that secret place? It's the place of prayer, fasting, and praying. This is our spiritual protection. And once we have done all that we can do, literally, then God will work a miracle. That point needs to be restated emphatically. It needs to be emphasized. Here's my point. Noah was preaching, a flood was coming. What did Noah use to build the ark? Wood from trees. What happened to the trees when the flood came? Destroyed the trees. So why was the ark sustained? Because God miraculously preserved the ark. What's the point? So once you have done practically what God says you must do, then God will then work a miracle to protect and preserve. So you can get your nuke alert. You can move to the country. Have food and water on your property. Have everything ready for different crises. But if you're unconverted, you'll perish just like those who don't have those practical things. However, if you are being converted, then God will work a miracle to protect, preserve, and to sustain. Do I hear amen? All right, move on here, brother. Let's come to LA. Massive protest against Trump deportations forms in downtown LA, causing major gridlock. February 2nd, 2025. That was yesterday. Protest in downtown LA over ICE raids blocks the 101 freeway. And I believe that is one of the busiest, most traveled freeways in America, the 101. That's what I hear. Look at this. Thousands block traffic on LA freeway during the Grammys ceremony in massive protests against Trump and migrant crackdown. Take a look at this.
We start tonight with a large protest in National City where demonstrators took to the streets calling for change. It was a wild scene most of the evening as hundreds of people rallied against the Trump administration's immigration policies. Good evening.
Clip 2.
Behind me, you can see hundreds of protesters who have gathered on Highland in National City. They got here late this afternoon, and many of them found out about this protest on social media. The sounds echoed by protesters symbolize solidarity with the immigrant community. As one protester climbed a light pole and hoisted a Mexican flag, those around him cheered on, carrying signs opposing the recent ICE raids and Trump administration immigration policies.
You know, friends, as you watch these clips, remember, I don't share these things just to make you aware of what's happening in current events. The question is, how are God's professed people going to be negatively impacted as we see these things? So imagine if there were a crisis and you chose not to be where God said you ought to be. You were lingering, you were procrastinating, and now you want to flee the city. How are you going to get out? How? How will you get out? Number 2, what if the protest turns into riots, civil unrest, and bloodshed, and now they begin to attack all those who don't empathize with them? What will happen to us? Who will they target? Those who are around them. Around them where? In the urban, densely populated cities. So as I share these things, think, what is God saying to us? Okay, before I share the next clip, let me dovetail what I'm going to say based on what my special guest, Denise Brown, just shared. The government, one of its ways to alert us that there is a nuke attack is they will contact you through your cell phone. Now, what if the cell phone lines are jammed before there is a nuke attack? How are they going to alert you? What if there are 2 calamities simultaneously? What if there is an EMP strike? What if there's a cyber attack? Leave the World Behind movie, Predictive program. A cyber attack shuts down your cell phone, then comes a nuke attack. How is the government going to alert you? We aren't thinking. Do you know what the word devil mean? Do you know what the word Satan mean? Do you know what his goal is? May I ask a question? Let me just dig, because I want you to be able to relate to what I'm saying. We have watched many movies in the past, and we have seen in Hollywood, LA, Hollywood, when the prowlers, the predators, the criminals come to people's homes back in the day, they don't want those inside the home to call 911. So what is one of the first things the predators, the criminals do? Thank you, preachers. They sever the phone lines. That was before we had cell phones, right? The same lines on the side of your home. Cut the phone lines. And then they bombard. Then they break in. So my friends, what if there is a simultaneous attack? Cyber, EMP, and then comes a nuke attack. And it would make sense. Cyber attack, EMP, how would the government respond? Or do they want to respond? Could they be the ones behind it? Several things to think about. You do your best in physical preparation, spiritual preparation, and God works the miracle. But those who refuse to be prepared, physically and spiritually, and expect God will protect them, they are presumptuous. Next clip. Watch.
Behind me, you can see hundreds of protesters who have gathered on Highland in National City. They got here late this afternoon, and many of them found out about this protest on social media. The sounds echoed by protesters symbolize solidarity with the immigrant community.
Pardon me for that. Next.
The signs read, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you."
I'm tired of politicians talking about Mexicanos. I'm tired. If it wasn't for us, this economy would be in the tank. And let them deport them.
And no ICE in schools.
I'm a teacher, and I will fight like hell for my students. We are trained to protect our students, and of course we are going to protect our students.
Other signs said they're here for their parents who immigrated. Even students from San Diego State came in support.
Trump and all of his people are spreading this dangerous rhetoric that all immigrants are terrible people and that people are coming here to just commit crime, and it's completely against the facts.
Some spoke about having friends or family members who are worried that they're going to be deported.
They're deporting people that are hardworking people. I've seen people that are street vendors and getting deported. Those aren't criminals.
This is what's fueling the protests, where community activists and even children gathered.
Stop it right there. Is it true ICE is going to schools, as we just heard? Now, again, I'm not here simply to alert you of what's happening in current events. But how would these things, similar things, affect God's professed people in the last days? The question is, when we are labeled as lawbreakers, when the mark of the beast is enforced, there will be no hiding place for us. And that's why when we do what God says we must do and go where he says we must go, as he opens the door, then he will work a miracle to protect, preserve, and sustain. I have heard reports of people who are undocumented. They are fearful, and possibly we need a stronger word than that to apply to what they're feeling. Some of them are working and are getting paid under the books or under the table, as they would say. These are the reports out there. And they are being let off. They finish working in the daytime. But my friends, they refuse to take transportation in the daytime to go home. They wait until it's night, 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. Then they try to jump on a bus, subway, to get home. Fearful, that is weak and tame to what people are feeling. But again, the point I'm making, what's going to happen when the focus is no longer on illegal immigrants, undocumented lawbreakers, but on God's commandment-keeping people? Beloved, you watch what's coming next.
And hours later, police opened up streets, but when protesters blocked police cars, they used tear gas to disperse the crowd. There were also people out here spreading information about immigrants' legal rights, on here telling them what they should do just in case an ICE agent comes to their home or place of business. Elizabeth Sanchez, CBS 8.
All right. Beloved, take a look at what you're seeing here on the screen. That's love. Look at that, my friend. Look at that. How would you get from point A to point B in an emergency, in a crisis? How? Look at that. Again, how would you move from point A to point B in an emergency during a crisis? What is God saying to us? I'll tell you, life in the cities are becoming artificial, are becoming dangerous. How many of you remember during the pandemic, major highways were shut down because of protests? The trailers that bring fuel to gas stations were blocked. The trailers, the trucks that bring food into grocery stores, farmers market, blocked because of protesters. Life in the cities are becoming artificial and dangerous. All right? I'm not sure how much more I can emphasize. It's time to implement the 5 keys of survival. Audio down, preacher. Watch this carefully. Hey, preacher man, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go on Google, and I want you to type in population of, what would you say, Latinos in America, Hispanics in America. Give me that number, the population. It just occurred to me, what if all of these individuals of this demographic were to find some form of camaraderie, they bind together and they stand as one unit? What would happen in America if all these people were to begin to protest? They're all over America. What would happen? Give me a number there, preacher.
Over 6 million.
So that could not be correct. 6 million? 6 million Hispanics in America? 6 million? Brother, it's more like 63 million or 60 million. Could not be 6 million. Google that.
600 million.
Brother, that cannot be right. 600 million? There's 300 million Americans.
666 million.
Brother, in America. In America, it's about 60 million. Come on. All right? Headline says. What do you have? 65 million. Source. Source.
AI.
So AI. All right. So we have approximately 65. Let me see who's in the chat can tell me. Because I have my preachers here. Okay. So we have. Okay. My cousin said it's 63 million. Thank you so much, Donna. 63 million. Brothers, what's wrong today? Talk to me. What's wrong today? Preacher man. Let's come here. Headline. Protests against Trump's immigration policies erupt across the country. Friends, here's the point I'm driving home here. Not only in California, but also in Texas. Not only in Texas, but in Arkansas, Missouri, and Georgia. Look at the last sentence of this article. ICE raids and deportations are expected to continue under Trump's administration as immigrant communities, local governments, and advocacy groups brace, watch this now, brace for the impact of the president's crackdown. The point I'm making, the Trump administration is not going to relent. There's no letting up. There's no backpedaling. There's no backtracking. There's no remorse. There's no. There's no 180. So what's going to be the response? See my point, friends? There's going to be a clash. There's going to be a showdown. It's coming. Could this be one-off several things that will create a secondary form of a civil war? Could it be? Democrats' resistance to mass deportations is a recipe for civil war. It's right there, friends. Again, we come back to leave the world behind. And what is the last stage of their so-called 3-step process? Coup d'etat, civil war, collapse. That's why we heard of Cal exit, California thinking about exiting from the Union, from the United States in the context of the Trump's executive order.
What if California was its own country?
We would be more safe. We would have less people die in wars.
Marcus Ruiz Evans of Fresno thinks it's a great idea. He says if President Donald Trump represents the majority of voters, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the rest of the country.
Independence is the only way out.
He's now leading the charge for the state of California to secede from the United States. And he thinks other Californians share his disdain for Trump's policies.
In the last
Stop. I've played that before, so I won't spend much time on that. And notice, the only way this can take place is if there is a revolution or a consent of the other states. And of course, I'm going to roll this clip from another predictive programming movie called Civil War. Listen attentively. 2 clips. Watch. Notice what 2 states, California and Texas. And where are the protests going on? California, Texas, 3 others. Arkansas, Missouri, and Georgia. Watch.
Citizens of America.
The so-called Western forces of Texas and California
have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Now notice the second clip. Listen attentively. Watch. And think about God's professed people. Watch.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
What kind of Americans are you? Now, I'm going to share with you what Education, page 228, say. It clearly states, this coming the spirit of unrest, riot, and bloodshed. What will cause this? 2 opposing sides. Tenets, objectives. Are we not seeing that today? 2 sides clashing. That's the statement. Education, page 228. Now, here's the point. Lest people think in a way that is unbalanced. Is this the only way a civil war can ensue in America? Surely the answer is no. But could this be one of several ways? Yes. Could this be a spark that brings about a flame and then a great inferno, a great conflagration? Sure. Watch carefully. Now, when you look at this clip, I'm going to roll it. Think about you trying to leave the city in an emergency or even in a crisis. Do you remember the movie Leave the World Behind? The home that they went to get supplies and food and protection had everything in the home. Where were those people? The owners of that home, they were stuck in the city. Why? Because the Tesla vehicles, autopilot, were being controlled by a sinister actor and blocked the highway. So what we're seeing here are several prongs that can be used to block transportation, block free access, block travel, and we're still thinking that we shouldn't be in the country and prepared? Watch this. Look at the clip. Look at that. Look at that. Blocked. Completely blocked. It's one thing if cars are moving through on either side, completely blocked. Look at that. What if that were to happen all around America in the major cities? New York, all the way down to Florida, across. What would happen? Friends, it's what we call, you know what? Watch carefully. Just as inspiration says, a time is going to come, there'll be such strife, confusion in the cities, Those who wish to leave them will not be able. We must be preparing for these issues. Now, there's several more things I want to say, I will say, I must say, but I want to hear from you. Those of you who are live, 689-777-5198, I want to hear what points stood out to you today. Either from the first portion, the coming nuke attack, or what we're seeing with the strife, the confusion in the cities. What points stood out to you today? 689-777-5198. Just as inspiration says, a time is going to come when we won't be able to travel. We won't be able to move. We're going to be shut down. There's several ways they can shut the whole city down. It's coming. And that's why inspiration says, Adventist homepage 141, it's time to move and take our families away from the cities into the country. It's time. It's time. Now, I want to hear, is there anyone in California? 689-777-5198. Did you see, are you seeing the protests? Are you seeing the actual blocking of streets? What are you hearing on the streets as a result of this clash between one side and the other side? If you have some first-hand information, inside information, we want to hear from you. Don't keep it to yourself. 689-777-5198. On the streets. Caller, turn the live feed down. You're live on Safe to Serve platform. What point stood out to you today?
What point stood out to me today is that we just got a few days left. We are truly running out of time. And if we are not careful, we are going to miss that train to get out of the city. And that's what has stood out to me today.
Brother, let us work together to enlighten and persuade others to implement those 5 keys before it's too late. What state are you in? What state?
I'm in South Florida, and on next week we are actually a few of us are going into Tennessee to look at a 7-acre property that we have. So we're going to survey the property and begin to make preparation, trying to help people to give them a central location that in the event something occur, we could know where to meet at that particular time. So we are praying one with another and uniting underneath one body, making all the preparation we can to be ready. In a sense, Pastor, it is not a matter of being ready. The time is now. We have had enough alarms that we know we need to be out. And I think what is happening is that we are looking for comfort, and not to be secure in the arms of Jesus, because we are so used to the city life that we think we got to take everything with us, the big couch, the big house, the car, the this. We got to remember that the woods will be our homes in the last days. And like Joseph, who had to make a rock a pillow, we too have to take that into account.
Brother man, thank you for calling in. My prayers are with you.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, brother. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What points stood out to you today from the lesson?
Hello, Pastor. I was impressed by the so much people in California. But it brought it to my mind that Ellen G. White says that the crisis that will come in the future, when we say it or a movie appears and tells about it, it will not be exactly how it was. It's going to be even worse in the impact. And the president trying to change that Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America is really adding things to the fire. It's going to be so bad. We must do whatever we can to get out of the cities and trust God's protection. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you. Did you hear that one? From the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And then there, and Canada becoming the 51st state, he stated. It's all an agenda. Stir up the crisis. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve platform. What point stood out to you today?
Good morning, Pastor and Safe to Serve family. I am currently living in Phoenix, and we too had a protest to take place here in Phoenix. Unfortunately, a police car was briefly taken while everything was happening. And so that's going to add to the highlight of the unrest. Sometimes the message gets lost from people making moves, being desperate, but we just have a lot to pray for. I've been asking God for many years to get me out of here. I still believe that he's going to do it. But the thing is, when he opens up the way, I have to go no matter what it looks like. And, you know, we think that we still have all this time, but we truly don't. And if we think that we're going to be able to have palatial areas to live and all of that, we just don't have time for that now. It's now about being obedient. So I just wanted to share that we're all being prayerful. There's a movement here in Phoenix of folk that want to get out, and many of us have been able to leave. But God is going to work this out. He's going to continue to be faithful.
Thank you for sharing. And my sister, be safe. It's terrible out there, and it's going to get worse.
Yes, sir. But we know God is able, right?
Yes.
So I cling to that.
Praise God. Thanks for calling in, my sister. The caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today from the lesson?
Hello, Pastor. Well, it's time to get ready, but I wanted to let you know I have 9 acres, about an hour and a half from California for anybody that really needs them. I want to keep probably 3 acres for my sons, just in case. But if anybody needs an acre, maybe one for some families, and I can give you my contact number. So if anybody needs to leave the city, I have those acres there in California, the city of Rosemont. If anybody is interested.
Are you able to put that? Okay, go ahead. If you're led by God to do it, go ahead.
Yes. And my phone number is. You can text me. It's better if you can text me because my phone is most of the time turned off because in my work it has to be off. It's area code 626-755-7039.
Okay.
And my name is Diana.
Okay, Diana. I'm going to say this to you, Diana. I don't know how God is working, and I don't want to block God's blessing from reaching someone. You called in to share and to assist those who are less fortunate. I did not tell you to call in to do this. You did.
No.
And I believe God is leading you. Now, you shared your contact information. People are going to contact you. Pray and ask the Lord to give you a system to know how to vet the individuals who will be calling you. Because you don't want to bring those who are devilish on your property.
Okay.
All right?
Yes. Well, I'm not in California. I live in Kentucky right now.
Okay.
But I have that land there, and I was going to move there, but then something happened, and we moved here to Kentucky. But I've been praying and asking the Lord, what to do with that land. I gave it away, but they decided not to use it. So I thought maybe I should call and ask if anybody needs a place.
Okay, my sister, just keep me posted. Again, be prayerful, and we don't want to allow the folks who are of the devil to block others who are sincere from receiving assistance. And
Okay,
that's why I
just
said to you,
pray for me, Pastor, and also I'm taking the Bible classes with you on Sundays and Wednesdays.
all right? Thank you,
Yeah.
my sister, for
Thank
calling
you.
in.
Thank you.
And just keep me posted. I'll be praying for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
God
Bye-bye.
bless.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
It's evident that people who have a little want to share with others. And that's why I want to say to those who are not yet there, but are desirous to be where God says they need to be, but don't see how, they don't see where. They know it's when, they know it's now, but don't see how, and they don't see where. God has a way, 1,000 ways to provide for us of which we know nothing. Just make sure you are doing your part. Number one, getting converted. So when God knocks on your door and opens that path, you're prepared. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today?
Hi, Pastor. This is Sam. If you can pray for me, I've been watching you for a long time.
What's your name, my sister?
My name is Sam. I've been watching you for a long time. I'm from Ethiopia, and you're an amazing pastor, and I'm just trying to get right with God. I'm studying every day, learning the way you teach is amazing, and I just want to glorify God. I thank God for everything you do, Pastor.
What's your name, my sister?
My name is Zafusium.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Zafu.
C-A-F?
No, Zafu.
Oh, Zafu?
Yes, I'm always on live with you every day.
Okay,
supporting
Zafu?
you, Pastor.
Zafu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, stay
Yes,
tuned.
sir.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'll pray
Thank
for you.
you.
Stay
Thank
tuned.
you, Pastor.
Stay
Thank
tuned.
you.
Again, God is going to open up Red Seas for individuals. Stay tuned. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today?
Yes, I have my children in the school, and I have also been studying along with the year plan. And you mentioned about the flood and the ark. And I just, I was speaking with them last night, the safety being in the ark, there was wind and the waves were tossing while they were in the ark. So as we see these things, I'm also going through a time where I don't know about financial things. You said about spouses separating and things happening in families. And this is something to keep in prayer. God will take care of us. He took care of Noah and his family. They were tossed to and fro, but he had the faith and assurance that they were going to be delivered. So that stood out to me about the ark.
Thank you, my
Amen.
sister. And we just need to pray for these individuals. Pray for them. Caller?
Yes, Pastor. Everything that you've ever taught stood out to me. Everything. Every time I watch you, Pastor, it stood out to me. I just want you to know that God has really used you and is using you and will continue to use you to bring many to Him so that when He returns, we can rejoice all together with Him in His kingdom, which is soon and very soon. We all are going to see the King. We all are going to see the King. Pastor, can you please call this number back? Because I would love to share some very vital, important information with you and share some pictures with you as well that I can't do right now.
Sure. I will call you back, my sister. I'll call you back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today?
Hey, good afternoon. A sister of mine just sent me the link from Jamaica. She always watches you. So she been sending it. She sent it to me Sabbath. I was watching you Sabbath, so I didn't get a chance to see the program because I just got it. And I was, okay, let me give a call. I'm new here. I am in Massachusetts. I am new. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and I'm just trying, to get my life. I just here about probably 8 months, and I was talking to her, and I said, I just got here. I don't got my thing together as yet. What am I going to do? And she was saying to me that God will make a way. And here she's calling me now. And, oh God. And I'm just saying that young lady that called and said she's offering some land for somebody to see, and she was just saying to me, Sabbath, that God will make a way for you, when the time come, And I'm just a little bit worried because I just got here and this is going on, and God never lie, And I have a son in Canada. He wants to get out. In England, want to get out too, Because I'm ask God to make us reunited and just prepare somewhere for us to go. Because as I said, I'm just here 8 months, don't get a job as yet, and I have a disability child also.
All right.
So I'm just asking you to pray for me, and ask God to open the way for us, because I'm a believer and I want to go the right way.
Okay. I personally thank you for the testimony and so on. Please, for all of you who call in, just be careful of how much information you share, especially based on what's happening. Give me your first name. Don't give me your last name. Give me your first name.
Joan.
Joan?
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned. I'll pray for you shortly, Joan.
Yeah.
Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today?
Hi, Pastor. This is Raquel from New Jersey. The most important part that impacted me was that you put part of the movie, and I was seeing that I was seeing the movie yesterday, and I was telling my husband, "Oh my goodness, this is a confirmation," and I'm very grateful because I'm struggling with my emotions, and watching you today, it's like it gave me a boost to wake up. That I really need to seek the Lord because He's coming soon and we need to get right.
Thanks for calling in, my sister. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What point stood out to you today?
Oh, many points, and I praise God for continuing to sound the alarm for all of us to help us be ready, and for also encouraging others to implement the 5 keys of survival. I just want to also praise God for Safe to Serve Connect, SCS Connect that you had on the site. I highly encourage you to have that back on again. It's helping many people who are seeking to unite for this work and also to be ready for this end time. What also reminded me of the programming, Predictive, somebody posted recently on The Simpsons on the helicopter and the commercial plane crash. And the Bible warns about men's hearts will fail them for fear. And we know where this is all heading. And the question for us is, are we having faith or fear? And that we should not be alarmed when we see these things happening, but to pray and watch and to get others ready. And so I thank you for God using you, Pastor, to sound the alarm and to get people ready in these last days.
Thank you, my sister. Let's cap those phone calls. Let's have a word of prayer at this time. Father in heaven, we're thankful today for your many blessings and what we have received. I bring to you these 2 prayer requests from Zafu. She's asking for healing. And I know your promises are sure, that you are the great physician. And if we come, you will in no wise cast us out empty. So you will provide, you will heal. I pray even now, you will touch her from the crown of her head to the soles of her feet, the tissues, the cells, the organs in her body. Breathe life and healing according to her faith. And I pray it will be done based on your will in your time. I pray also for Joan. You know what her situation is. You brought her here. You can protect. You can preserve. You can give her what she lacks, not to be squandered in worldliness and secularism, but for her to be fully, completely ready for these last days and to assist her children. And one that she mentioned needs a little more attention. Your people are crying out to you because they have no one else to go to. But your word says in Hebrews 4, you are touched with the feelings of our infirmities. And if we come boldly to the throne of grace, we'll obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. All of us are in this time of need, and we believe today we can receive mercy and we can receive grace. Thank you. Keep us faithful. Bless all those who join us live in the comment section as well, those who called in, the others. Bless those who want to assist. You have blessed them with property. My sister who called in from California, she doesn't have much, but the little she wants to assist and accommodate others, which is key number 5 of the 5 keys. I pray, Lord, send her the right family, the sincere family. Give her the gift of discernment. May her 5 senses be renewed by your Spirit, that she will make the right choice and assist the right family. And there are several others like her family, who want to assist others. Encourage your people. Keep us faithful. We thank you for hearing. Thank you for answering, is our prayer. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. No more calls today, preacher. Beloved, I want to thank you for joining us, making the sacrifice here for this midday power surge. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and hit the bell for notification. There are times where we're coming on an odd time. I will put that post on our platform. If you're subscribed and hit the bell for notification, you'll be notified. By God's grace, I'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern for Midday Power Surge. Please, friends, like the video, share it with others so others can be aware and be prepared. And by God's grace, let's remain faithful. Let's remain in the spirit of evangelism. God bless. The protest continues. Maranatha.